Hi everybody. So this video is the start of a video that is going to go through some of the details of getting a hysterectomy. So there's no reason why anyone watching this would know this, but I am going to be having a hysterectomy in about a little less than 2 weeks. And so I decided I would maybe give some insight and some detail into that process in case anyone else is having a similar type of experience. I'm laying in bed right now because I'm pretty fatigued. So some of this is going to be a lot of information, probably a little bit more personal than I'd really like to get, but I'm hoping that by doing that, somebody else will find this information to be helpful. So to give you a little background story, I am 43. I was told about 4 years ago that I should probably have a hysterectomy for some pretty serious bleeding situations. And then I had some small fibroids. And then I have had some ovarian cyst ruptures, which apparently I tolerate pretty well. They're pretty painful when they're happening, but I feel fine once it's occurred, and even have been able to go hike 12 miles and things right after it happens. But when it does happen, for anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half, it's pretty serious pain. Actually, one of the ones I wasn't sure if I was having appendicitis, because it was the lower right quadrant. Turns out it was an ovarian cyst rupture, which lots of women get these things, and I'm not for 1 second suggesting my situation is worse than anyone else's, but maybe as a medical professional kind of going through it and giving you some insight, this could be helpful. So oddly enough, this is probably going to be my last menstrual cycle I ever have. So at 43, I am not menopausal. I don't even really have the signs and symptoms of perimenopausal symptoms. However, I probably have about 7 years left prior to the onset of menopause anyway. I can't tell you that I'm going to be sad to be losing my period, because they're pretty brutal. About every third month, I hemorrhage pretty bad, to the point where I've not been hospitalized, but it has been close a couple of times. And I get very fatigued when that happens, and this is one of those months. I am a naturally very energetic person, and when this occurs, it can really slow me down. I probably get pretty anemic, although I have a good diet and I eat really well, so it seems like I recover pretty quickly. But those times when it's sort of in the throes of it can make me pretty tired. It almost feels like if I didn't know better, I would think I had mono, that kind of tired. And I get almost a little bit short of breath because I'm not carrying oxygen in exactly the way that I probably should be. And so just to I think now what I'll do is I'll kind of talk to you about what my surgeon and I have come to the decision about. So I put this off as long as I really felt like I possibly could. Like I said, they had suggested a few years ago that it was probably time for that. I wasn't ready for it, but something told me this year I needed to go get checked again. And sure enough, I think they said about 30 fibroids, 2 of which are the size of oranges, and 1 is in the front and 1 is in the back, so kind of front to back. And again, this is hard to share some of this information because it's a little bit personal, but hopefully there's some ladies out there that can relate. So I can actually feel them through my abdomen. Normally, when you are feeling your abdomen, your uterus should end just kind of above your pubic bone. Apparently my uterus is the size of maybe a 3.5 to 4 month pregnancy. So when I palpate it is just below my navel. So it's quite large. Since my uterus is so large, it also means it's very heavy. And that has developed into some odd symptoms as well. I can't believe that I'm sharing some of this. So one of them is because the uterus is so heavy all of the time. Fortunately, I work really hard on my Kegels and I don't get a lot of incontinence and things like that like some women do. But what will happen is if my bladder is very full, it will almost crimp the urethra. And if my bladder is exceptionally full, it almost feels like I can't urinate. So that's one symptom. I also, because it is so heavy, and one of the fibroids is posterior, it kind of sits on my colon. And there are times when I will have pain as fecal matter, I guess, is progressing through the colon, and it will be painful. It's pretty brief. It doesn't last a long time, but it is unpleasant. Some of the other symptoms are, like I said, extremely, extremely heavy bleeding, and that's probably the primary reason why this is happening. The hysterectomy, that is. I also have decided, under the guidance of my surgeon, we were trying to decide whether to do a vaginal or an abdominal hysterectomy. And for recovery purposes and things like that, I really was hopeful for a vaginal. And because of the size of my uterus, my surgeon has suggested an abdominal. Actually, she was really great. I said to her, what would you do if this was your body? And she really took her time. She's probably sat there pensive for about 60 seconds and really thought long and hard about what she would do if it was her body. And when she came to the decision that she thought an abdominal one would be better, I felt like if that's what she would do with her body, that's what I would do with mine. One of the concerns was she wanted to be able to get the uterus out in one piece, although it is extremely unlikely that anything really sinister like a cancer or anything aggressive is in there. Part of the reason why we're removing it is to ensure that, and it will go off to pathology. But she wants to be able to take it out in one piece. And because it's so large, she is not sure that she'd be able to take it out vaginally without cutting it up into pieces. And that would sort of defeat the purpose of trying to remove it in one whole piece. She also says that I'm very healthy, so I should have the same recovery regardless. So obviously there'll be a little bit more discomfort and pain with an abdominal incision, but I think I do okay with pain. I think I'll be all right. And she feels I will be very much able to go back to work in 4 weeks, which is pretty good because I have a very physical job. There's a lot of lifting, pushing, pulling. And so the description of the recovery that she recommends, and I will kind of let you know how that goes, is for week one, like really, really take it easy. Certainly walk to the bathroom, walk to the kitchen, get food, to the shower, but really, really relax. Week 2, start going on short walks outside. And then week 3 and 4, start progressing back to normal activity, and then return to normal on week 4, including work and, exercising. So I'll let you know how that process goes. So I guess I'll just kind of close this video here, and I'll give you an update. I've already had my pre-op, I've already had my biopsy, and now I'm just waiting to go and have surgery. Oh, one other thing that I might share that really surprised me is I was not expecting to have to stay in the hospital. I thought this would be an outpatient procedure. I mean, my gosh, you can replace a knee and they have outpatient procedure, but gynecological surgery is not my specialty. Orthopedics is. So I was surprised to find out that typical stay is 2 days. She did say that if I'm feeling good, I could probably go home the evening of the next day, which I'm hopeful because, again, I'm a healthy girl, so I'm hoping I can go home early. Really don't want to hang out in the hospital longer than I need to, but of course I want to do it safe. I guess it's, from the perspective of if you have a baby, you stay in the hospital for 2 days, but I wasn't expecting that, so that was unexpected. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'll let you know how the rest of it goes, and I will try and give you some insight into the process.